A dwarf neem tree had long stood as a well-armed sentinel outside Madhu's school office. No animal, even insect, could enter inside without avoiding the eye of the tree which was guarding. But the sunray sneaks into the crevices of the tree and also into its fallen leaves. The same happened today. The rays of the sun came in and reflected brilliantly on Madhu's table. Madhu felt that this sunray was as stubborn as she was. Who can restrain it from spreading as it likes? The leaves of the tree caught in the whirlwind were happily swinging. A warm feeling enveloped Madhu amidst the morning brightness from the play of the swaying leaves. Madhu started thinking. She thought, shouldn't even the leaves and trees have to struggle like humans to adapt and develop harmony with strangers? While Madhu was immersed in her own world and observing the play of light and shadow, she dived into the old memories of her husband's house without her knowledge. Gaurav was a clerk in a bank. He was the eldest of the two brothers and two sisters. Being a fatherless family, he was the boatman of the family boat. Madhu, who looks very simple and modest, was received with joy by all her husband's family. Madhu was also aware about the fact which her in-laws had an impression on her, and that was they were having an educated, polite, government-employed girl as their daughter-in-law. Madhu was not good at household work due to her father's absence. Her laziness was soon known to all her husband's family. But no one tried to steal her dignity. Instead, everyone in the family began to look at her with more affection. The harsh reality that love also wields power had not dawned on Madhu's soft mind. Her and Gaurav's earnings were going to the family's needs and were met successfully. She started to feel that all of them were giving her so much respect for the sake of earning. Even her in-laws used to make sure that their daughter-in-law did not face any hardship. Madhu was always seething with impatience due to lack of income. Even under the shadow of Gaurav's immense love, Madhu's impatience did not subside. She started feeling that everyone in the house were useless. Neither the untainted affection of the family members nor Gaurav's love could erase this feeling of Madhu. Self-reliant, financially independent, Madhu wanted to live only for herself. One day, when Madhu's expensive tea set slipped from Gaurav's sister Sanjana's hand and broke into pieces, the anger flared up. Madhu, who jumped up with anger, said, "What have you done, Sanjana? Have you ever seen such an expensive tea set?" she roared. Gaurav, who was dressing the hand of his younger sister who broke the set, said, "She did not break anything, Madhu." Heartbroken over the inadvertence, Sanjana silently left the room. Gaurav wiped Madhu's tears in an attempt to explain the situation, kissed her on the forehead and said, "Why are you so sad, my dear?" He started comforting. Madhu raised her head after a few moments and said, "As far as I am concerned, all relationships here are selfish. How much longer will all of them have fun in our money? She said. Hearing her words, Gaurav was heartbroken and said, Madhu, you have no idea what relationships are all about. If money is the only thing that matters to you, then go, live with your money and be happy, he said. Madhu had made the final decision. In her view, that decision was the most appropriate. She stopped for a moment, stuffed some clothes in her bag, and left the house. Madhu, who was fuming with anger, did not know how she reached her home. When she reached home, her mother was sitting in the front room. She hugged her mother and started crying. Though Gaurav came to take her after a few days, Madhu was not ready to live in that joint family. Bound by his personal responsibilities, Gaurav refused to part from his family, while Madhu refused to move in with him. Gaurav made another attempt to bring Madhu back. One day, Gaurav met Madhu while she was walking home from school, authoritatively grabbed her forearm and said, Come, Madhu, let's go to our house. But sticking to her decision, Madhu took off her hand and left. By then, Gaurav's efforts to strengthen the relationship proved futile. Gaurav never appeared before her after this. But Madhu often felt like two eyes were following her on her way home from school. The decision of daughter could not be supported by her father for many days. Madhu's father met with death because of worrying about Madhu's future. So, mother was the only support for her happiness and sorrows. Madhu's mother used to tell Madhu quite knowingly, Daughter, once the flour is mixed with water and stirred, it is finished. It can never be separated. The daughter-in-law is also the same. Once she steps into her husband's house, it is over. It is impossible to do otherwise. The wisdom is to forget old bitter memories and reconcile. Madhu, the brothers and sisters of Gaurav and your in-laws etc. are like flowers of different colors and scents in the husband's house. It is only with such flowers it is called a garden, and the house looks beautiful. These relationships should be cherished like flowers. Otherwise, all the flowers will fade and life will begin to feel miserable. But Madhu did not like such good words. Seeing her carelessness, the mother also stopped informing after a few days. After that, 12 springs passed without realizing it. Finally, one day her mother also left this world, leaving Madhu alone due to old age. When her mother was alive, Madhu did not feel the heat of loneliness. Now she had to live with her loneliness. On this occasion, due to an accidental incident, Madhu was shocked. Ashok was the librarian in her school. Due to their love of reading, a close friendship naturally developed between them. Ever since she got separated from Gaurav, Ashok started taking care of her with more care. Madhu's mind was haunted by her association with Ashok. She tried to forget her pains in friendship with him. But one day Ashok came from behind and hugged Madhu, who was sitting in the school. Stunned by the hot touch of his body, Madhu immediately slapped his cheek. She did not like the attempt to abuse the friendship like this. Madhu had never thought that as a father of two adorable children, Even with a beautiful wife like Chaya, this man could indulge in such a despicable act. The attender Sunanda heard the noise and ran inside. Madhu's expression was concentrated in anxiety, disgust, and on the other hand, Ashok was standing speechless with a sense of guilt. Sunanda easily understood what could have happened. Sunanda was the oldest nanny of that school. She treated Madhu like her own daughter. That is the life of that old woman who lives thinking that it is her duty and responsibility to give the necessary guidance at the right time. Madhu looked very humiliated to see that Sunanda knew all this. Seeing her misfortune and helplessness, she began to feel sad. Madhu started to feel as if she had become someone else's property as she had parted from Gaurav. It was disgusting to see someone waiting to enjoy her. Madhu hid herself in a solitary cell to escape from such a demonic-minded person. She weaved a shield of loneliness around herself. Amidst all this, she was now convinced of what a mistake she had made in defying Gaurav and began to repent. But because of Ashok's barbaric behavior, it is also true that her heart yearned for Gaurav like no other. The mind kept reminding Gaurav and started crying. Even though she soothed the silent agony of her unhappy heart, she could not curb her lust for Gaurav's affection. A decade had passed since the coolness of the shadow of Gaurav's immense love had been disturbed. Now she started to remember how she used to feel so safe when she went to the cinema with Gaurav, when she was traveling in a bus or when she went to a hotel. Gaurav could not tolerate any glare towards her. Then such a sense of security made a home in me. But now she started crying silently that she had to hide herself in secret for such a safe life. She was also distant from her friends. Seeing all of them living a peaceful life in their husband's house with their children, she cursed that she was the only one living like this. She was saddened that even today she is not able to live comfortably because she defied her husband and his family in terms of money. Madhu was like a barren land that had lost everything. "What's up? Are you safe?" asked Sunanda. Hearing Sunanda's voice, Madhu came out of her dream world and said, "Yes, yes," she said in a shock. She gave a fake smile so that Sunanda would not know the agitation of her mind. "Shall I serve it for dinner?" "No, I don't feel like eating." "What else do you think you should give up breakfast to?" said Sunanda. Sunanda's voice was sharp. Sunanda was keenly observing Madhu's facial expressions. Madhu wanted to say something to her, but her tongue did not come out. Madhu's house was very far from Gaurav's house. Sunanda would often inform Madhu about the happenings of Gaurav and his family. Sanjana and Shalini's marriage was also consummated. Now Gaurav also got promotion after promotion and was a senior officer. Anand also got a good job and his marriage was celebrated only last week. Madhu listened to all Sunanda's words indifferently. Hearing all that, the tsunami waves in her heart shook her. It took about days for her to become normal. The school bell rang. School summer vacation was to start from the next day. The school environment started to imitate the sound of children shouting in the height of happiness because it was a holiday. The noise gradually subsided, and in a few moments, another graveyard silence fell. As long as you are with the students at school, you will not experience the passing of time. Madhu started walking home with a heavy step, not knowing how to spend time alone on vacation. She was walking slowly on the footpath by the side of the road. The grass on the feet was getting soft as the steps were taken. As soon as the step was taken, it bounced back like before. Madhu was stunned to see the tolerance in the grass. So many people trample on it every day. However, this feathery grass bounces up while smiling. But she lamented that I am not the only one who wasted the precious time of life due to arrogance. Madhu, who thinks herself a great genius, realized that Gaurav was the pillar of the family. She had left such a pillar, a solid foundation support, and had shattered the very lifeline of the family. Madhu, who was in her own world, had no idea of the world. There was a car in front of her coming. Hearing the sound of braking, she looked up in shock. She was surprised to see the person sitting in the car. Gaurav got down from the car and came close enough. As a mature adult, his personality was still attractive. Come on, Madhu, let's go home. I can't bear you living in that lonely house anymore, said Gaurav, who held her hand firmly, and her heart suddenly buzzed with that touch. Tears of joy began to flow in the eyes. Gaurav, how did you know that mom passed away? She asked desperately in her sobbing voice. I love you more than my life, Madhu. I am aware of your every step of struggle. Now I have fulfilled all my obligations and am debt free. Will you stay with me even now? Her sadness, anger, which had been lingering for decades, all started flowing from her eyes like mist and water in a moment. It was a very special meeting. The moving clouds were disturbed. There was a commotion among the birds. Even the swirling breeze stilled for a moment. Only Madhu was forever embedded in Gaurav's tight embrace. Even the burning sun was pleasant. Madhu recovered after a few minutes, wiped her eyes, and opened the car door. After sitting in Gaurav's car, she was completely relaxed. Shortly after the car moved, Sunanda was seen standing on the side of the road. Her eyes were moist. After a long time, she was trying in vain to control the steam of pleasure that was dripping after seeing this extraordinary confluence scene. Madhu understood everything. Sunanda stood in the mother's place and fulfilled all the formalities of sending the daughter to her husband's house. 12 years of separation had taught her the greatness of relationships.